Where is it? We're here.
We're
Yes.
here.
I screwed that one up.
Sarai.
Oh, it has been a day like you would
Yeah.
not believe.
Hi, sweetie.
Oh,
I just
hey.
realized the intro. We're doing this research for tonight's show on symbolism. We got a lot of eyes of Horus flying around on our intro with the eyes of
What are we trying to
Woo!
say?
We've got two eyes, not just one. Hi,
Yeah.
Deborah.
Hey,
Hi, Deborah.
Deborah.
Thanks.
Uh,
Oh,
what is it?
welcome everyone.
What is this? Oh, hey, lady. Okay.
I, or
Hey,
I,
ladies,
hey, lady,
lay.
say. She's using Pig Latin.
Okay.
I, hey, lady, say. Or I do say. Oh, anyway, or halfway, yeah, half the word or something.
I, anyway,
She's
hello.
being symbolic. She's being cryptic and symbolic for the show. Thank
Gotcha.
you. Thank you. Welcome, everyone. This is Eyes of Indigo, and my name is Margot Ross Sears, and this is Iris Carter. We are co hosts, and Deborah says that she has a secret greeting in the comments for us. We are live, and Deborah is watching us too. Um, and she was writing a coded message to us in the greetings. You can see it yourself if you are joining us through YouTube. You can also see us on Facebook. And yep, there's the secret message at the bottom of the screen. And if you are on one platform, you can't see comments on the other platform. So we do read them out loud as often as we can, which has worked out really well so far. If you are new to this channel, new to this show, welcome to the program. If you are a regular, we are warmly grateful for seeing you again, too. Thank you. In either case, please feel free to comment, say hi, say hello in the chat, in the comment section. That is the best way for us to know that you're out there. And during the show, please feel free to comment, ask a question, or contribute information, or ask us to clarify something if you're not sure. There is a short time delay between when you type and when we see it, but it will come up, and we will catch it then. We are out here weekly since September of 2020, and Iris has been here for every single show, and we are
Much to your chagrin or not.
and much to our gratification. We're going up on a year and a half of this good stuff, getting close to that. And the holidays are upon us, which means there's a lot of visuals going on and some symbolism. Also, this topic relates to our show last week with the crazy stuff that goes on with Disney. So, Iris, could you elaborate some more on tonight's topic?
Yeah, let me bring this up. This was tonight's show is hidden symbolism. Sometimes these hidden gems are like Easter eggs, and in case you couldn't tell, that's an Easter egg in the middle of the page. Hidden in plain sight, and I put a face on it along with our eyes a minute ago. Other times they blend unnoticed into daily life. Join us as we crack open a few symbols and break a few yolks. Yeah. Uh,
You see the
and
symbol in the nose?
yeah, what did I do there?
You
Can
added
you
a
tell?
3.
I added a 3. I was going to do just the notched out nose, like an upside down V. And then I
Yeah.
said, nah, she needs nostrils or kind of like the little curvy, shadowy stuff. And I was like, I ain't got time for that. So I put a 3 there. But then I thought, God, that looks sort of Masonic or something.
It kind of does. It looks like
And
Christian symbolism, actually, but yeah,
yeah,
which crosses over with Masonic.
yeah. And then, you were talking about the eyes in our opening logo. When we first started, some of our early things just showed one eye, and then we said, no, we're being too
Our word is plural, eyes.
yeah, so we decided let's not just do the one-eyed thing. And And there's lots of things that are going on
In the world.
in the world that there's symbolism that's being thrown at us constantly, not always for good reasons. So what I wanted to start with to kind of introduce all this is, and let me pull it up. I'm sorry, we do not have a producer. I am the
The
producer, and
producer.
so I have to find all this stuff and figure it out. Is this the one I wanted? I hope I didn't undo it. Let's see.
She has many things going on around her screen that she wants to share.
Yeah, let me
Because
see.
today is a very visual show. There's lots of examples of what we're going to be talking about in terms of hidden symbolism. Sometimes it's just for funsies. The symbolism is just an interesting design quirk that's useful or just
But
entertaining,
or
or sometimes
accidental, and
it
but
can
then
be
sometimes
accidental, which I got to say I still don't believe.
there are no such things as
There's no such
accidents.
thing as coincidences, and I think professional artists know what they're doing. But
um, this
I could be
this
wrong. I could be wrong.
Yeah, and these on this page, it was on the page. What is the name of that page? It's called Hidden Symbolism. No, I meant Objects and Photos with Hidden Symbols Hidden in Plain Sight. And it is the website is, I cannot read it. Where is it?
It looks like K Jewelers.
Oh yeah, it's no, but it's not. Object. It's called insider.com. Objects dash photos dash hidden dash signs dash symbols dash 2017 dash 12. Not that you want that. If you go to insider.com and look at objects or photos, hidden signs and symbols, or
It'll jump
symbolism
up.
even, it'll jump up. But like this is on all beauty symbols. It's if you think about it, it's a lid opening up,
Mm-hmm.
and that's a 9M, meaning 9 months. So that's the M stands for months, and that just lets you know how long something's good once it's opened.
Shelf life once it's
Yes.
open. Yeah.
There. Let's see. Let me go down here to the actual thing. On every penny,
Mm.
there are three letters engraved on Lincoln's shoulder. It's VDB. And it was a medalist, Victor David Brenner, who designed the portrait of Abraham Lincoln on our penny. And most people don't even notice it because it's so tiny.
Artist's signature.
Yeah.
Cool.
Coca-Cola, back when Coca-Cola had the bear on their winter cans, the
Oh, look
polar
at the
bear.
shine on his nose.
The shine on his nose is a Coca-Cola bottle, and his eyes are bottle caps.
Oh, they are.
But
How
it looks like
cute.
eyelashes. But
They
it's,
do. Oh,
isn't that
that is
cute?
that is clever. That is very clever.
There we got
That is cool.
the thing. Amazon, a lot of people recognize this. It's everything from A to Z.
Yeah,
So
they
the
ship
A to
everything.
Z is the arrow, and it's also a lot of people take it as a smile.
Sure.
Um, a lot of people thought BMW, they
Logo.
started out as airplanes, and that was a propeller fan, the blue and white symbol. But it's actually the from the flag of the Free State of Bavaria.
Where they started. Yeah.
Um, Speaking of Disney, and they're they have,
They're famous for Easter eggs.
yeah, and their Easter eggs appear in other films. Like Lotso from Toy Story 3 and the Luxo Ball both appear in the film Up. Um, and then here's in Monsters Inc. You've got Finding Nemo. I don't know if that's Nemo or Dora. I can't keep them
That's
straight.
Nemo, and then there's also a Jessie doll from the Toy Story.
Gotcha.
A girl cowboy doll. Yeah.
These two, Rapunzel and Flynn from Tangled, both were in Frozen.
Yep.
And then the magic carpet from Aladdin was in The Princess and the Frog.
Up on the railing. Yep.
Yeah. And then is there something else?
Those are commercials.
Imagine.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. That was, yeah. This was Princess, but it also shows up in The Hunchback of Notre Dame and possibly Hercules.
Yes.
Bluetooth technology. This was something that really blew my mind. The Bluetooth technology was named after 10th century Danish Viking king Harlan Blaton.
Okay.
I don't know how to say it.
That sounds right.
Okay, we'll make it sound that way. How's that? Yes, I know how to say his name is Harlan Blaton. No, no. But the symbol with the line going straight up
Oh,
with the X over it is the H in Old Norse, and the B looks like our B, except it's got
sharper.
Madonna points on it.
Yeah.
And,
It do.
and when you combine the H and the B, that's the Bluetooth symbol. And you were saying, Margo, which I did not know, where the term
The
Bluetooth comes from.
Yes, that same Danish king, Harold, Bladand, I don't know. He was also known as, his nickname was Bluetooth because he had he had a liking for eating blueberries, and so his mouth, his face, his hands were almost always blue, and he had blue teeth from his uh, penchant for blueberries, and so he was known behind his back as Old Bluetooth.
That's interesting.
Yeah,
He was Violet, but precursor of Violet in Willy
Pre-Kylie of
Wonka.
another eyes. Yes, yes, absolutely. That might have been where
Toblerone.
they got her from. Yeah,
The Toblerone symbol, you got the package back here, and you got the mountain. It looks like it's snow there, but the snow is actually in the shape of a bear,
bear
which is
silhouette.
honoring the city of Bern in Switzerland. So
Very
that's,
cool.
yeah. The
Another harken back.
USB symbol, I never realized, is uh, the trident from King
Neptune
Neptune.
or Poseidon.
Or,
Yeah,
yeah. So, yeah. I mean, I thought that was kind of cool.
that
And
is.
then while we're speaking of computers, the on off button, the little circle with the line in it, is
Mm-hmm.
more than just that. We know that computer programmers use the ones and zeros to the combinations. That's the binary. Yeah.
Coding.
Yeah. So this is the 0 and the 1 combined, meaning because 1 means fully on and 0 means fully off, and that's the switch you toggle is the on off button. So they put the binary symbols together in there.
Cool.
FedEx, a lot of people forget there's a arrow in the X. They have it in red on here. In the EX, there's an arrow.
Mm-hmm.
NBC, a lot of people have forgotten that the peacock is the NBC symbol, and it's gotten so
Iconic.
yeah, well, true. I was thinking mutated into an
Mm.
abstract. It's become more abstract. But
Mm-hmm. It's
back
just a
in
fan, right?
NBC had the first colored television programs, and uh, the World of Disney was one of the first programs that you could watch in color. And I remember we lived across the street from my grandparents, and they got a color TV set. So on Sunday evenings, we would go over to their house to see the Wide World of Disney in color. And the logo, it was like NBC, proud as a peacock. And a peacock would like stand up. It was a cartoon peacock and furl its feathers out, and they would all be the different colors, just like it is now. But it was obviously a peacock, and that was
Yeah.
proud as a peacock. NBC, proud as a peacock.
Mm-hmm. It would actually walk across the stage like a white bird, and then the colored tail would it would
Yes,
stop and it spread out its tail, unfurl the tail for you. Yeah.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's where that comes from. Gillette has the razor blade, like you can imagine a razor blade going through and chopping the G and the I off it.
Slash. Yeah.
Hershey's Kisses has a Hershey's Kiss in the word between the K and the I.
Yup.
Yeah. And Unilever, they're a healthy symbolic company, and all these symbols in their U of Unilever, they have the meanings of on their website, but there's lots of different little, it's not just a simple funky looking squiggly U's are actually symbols.
Micro pictures and symbols in there. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, Tostitos, if you've never noticed, the TIT and Tostitos is two people. Yeah, I know. The tit and Tostitos.
Yeah.
God.
Sex sells, baby. It's everywhere.
Yeah. But it's actually two people holding a chip and dipping there.
Yeah.
Baskin Robbins is known for its 31 flavors, and that's in the B and the R on their website.
The pink
Yeah.
31. Yeah.
Goodwill, the logo is a face, and the G is that same face.
Same half smiley face. It's also a one eye.
Uh
It's
huh.
also a single eye of Horus. Yeah.
Yeah. Tour de France
Possibly.
has the bicyclist in their words.
And the word tour. Yeah.
Yeah. Northwest Airline, they were bought out by Delta in 2008, but this is their old symbol. And when you look at it, you can see the N in red. If you put all the pieces together, it makes a W. And then the arrow that's off to the side is pointing northwest. So from Northwest Airlines, it's a triple threat there.
Very clever. Yeah.
Yeah. Pinterest, the P in the circle is actually a push pin.
Down at the tip. Yep.
Yeah. And then Beats logo, if you put a face on it, it is somebody with headphones.
Yeah, it's I said a little one half of a headphones. Cute.
Yeah. Jif claims this was purely accidental, but someone pointed out if you turn it upside down, it's looks like Jif that way. You know, I had a friend who said, this was years ago, I was working with her, and she said, yeah, my husband's named Bob, B-O-B, B-O-B. Whether you spell it frontwards or backwards, it's still Bob.
What an interesting way to introduce your husband.
Yes, it was a hoot.
You lean in on her and say, so what are you trying to say? Confuse her prattle.
But you know, I never saw the name Bob in any other way after that. It was B-O-B. Every time I hear the word Bob or the name Bob, I think
down, it becomes Pop.
Well, upside down, but this was frontwards or backwards.
Frontwards or backwards. Next time you see her, ask her how's Pop.
Yeah. Well, she's dead now, but
well, then it would be an afterlife question, of course.
She's probably laughing. I never noticed this on the 8 of diamonds, but the way it's laid out, you've got an 8 in the middle, the two
in
middle
the negative
diamonds.
Space.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
And then the King of Hearts is the only king without a mustache. And this particular article says that was done by accident, but we don't know that it was. I know that also there's like some of the kings, I think only one of them faces sideways, that kind of thing.
Yeah, there's one profile. One of them has the blade through his head, and the King of Hearts, they tend to call him the Suicide King.
Yeah, because see the blade, he was holding a battle axe, and they changed it to a blade, and it just looks like it's going into his head. Oops.
Yep.
So anyway, that is let me just get rid of that. Sort of an introduction to some of these thoughts and how symbols get worked in. And then there are things that just start screaming at you once you learn what certain symbols mean. And there's lots of symbols that we take for granted all the time, like one that I've mentioned before. Christians use the cross all the time. You got the cross, and there were different kinds of crosses. There was a St. Andrew's cross, because St. Andrew's, when he was punished on the cross, he didn't want to be on the same kind of cross that Jesus was on, so his is an X. And then there's some did it have done it different ways. Some put a bar on a wall and hung people that way, whatever. But the cross that Jesus was hung on was taken,
Was executed on.
it
Yeah.
was executed on.
Well, tortured and executed. He wasn't just executed, he was tortured and executed on that cross. Yeah.
They now use as a Christian symbol. And like I said, we've
Which I
mentioned this
find deeply
before.
morbid and bizarre.
Yeah, it hit me one day. I was like, why are we worshiping a symbol of torture?
Why
Why
are
do
we
we consider
using a
that?
symbol of torture? Yeah.
Why would we consider that as a representation of a religion that is supposed to be?
I can tell you why.
Oh yeah, but I mean, but rhetorically,
Yeah, rhetorically, the question
this
is
is supposed to be a religion where we honor.
joy
If we're
and
following
sacred.
Jesus's words, not just the Old Testament,
WWJD, baby. Yeah.
yeah, then and in many churches they actually put representation of this dead man bleeding and tortured and
It's called
on the cross.
it's called the crucifix.
Yeah, and it's
That
like,
design is called a crucifix. Yeah.
ew, ew.
Yeah. They show pictures of a human heart with thorns and blood and rips and gashes in it as well. And call that the Sacred Heart. Yeah, they
That's not very sacred to me.
no, yeah.
That's beaten and battered.
They're, they're trying to it's trying to visually make you feel bad. It's trying to guilt trip you.
Ah,
Yeah, it's a representation of look what you've done. It's your fault.
you know what? My if I were a woman back in that time, granted I wouldn't have the right to say this if I were a woman back in that time, but if somebody today came up and said, "We're creating a new religion and this is going to be our symbol," and we had never seen that before, the thing I would say to their face is, "You are somebody who is morbid and obsessed with torture. This is not what you, this is not good marketing."
Apparently, it was for 2,000 years now.
That's why I don't get paid the big marketing bucks. But it lasted for 2,000 years. It's time to change the logo.
You would think so. The symbol is a symbol of guilt. You and I perceive it, and a lot of people, not just you and I, but a lot of people perceive it, yes, as a morbid symbol of torture, because it is. It's actually a torture device. But that was marketed as a symbol of guilt. And as you've noticed through the history of Judaism and Hindu and Christianity, and not a little bit of Islam, but they don't do it as much. The first three religions I just named lean heavy into the guilt stuff to motivate people. Very, very deeply motivate that, which is one of the reasons that Protestants separated from Catholicism. Was to get off of that platform, but they didn't get off of that platform completely, represented by the fact that they still use the number one guilt symbol, which is a cross. Yeah, and that's why it works. It's a symbol of guilt. It's
I think
not a symbol
the
of
only
torture.
reason Dracula was afraid of it was because he was afraid he was going to be tortured.
Yeah. Well, it looks like a knife and it's a torture symbol. So yes, that makes perfect sense. Remember a wooden stake in the heart?
Yeah.
So
and I'm just making that up off the top of my head. But I mean,
apparently it's divinely inspired. Very good.
Supposedly it's a symbol. Yeah.
Good one, Iris. You came up with a good one. So moving on. Yes, the cross was a funky symbolism. Do you know what another Christian symbol is out there that's very popular? Fish.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I like to fish with feet.
That one's over this way, and that would be Darwinism.
Yes.
In bumper sticker culture, anyway.
Yeah.
But the fish was the symbol before the cross symbol took hold.
That was because Peter used that in his letters or something, didn't he? Wasn't it Peter?
There's a lot of references as to why, and that's one story.
It was about why. Secret. It was like the secret password too.
It was, this meeting's here.
Sweaters drive me crazy.
By the door or by the tree or written in the dirt, you'd see a fish symbol, and that would mean that in the next house or cave or tavern was the next secret Christian meeting. Um,
In doing research for this, that's interesting that you mentioned the house or tavern or whatever. The the when I was doing hidden symbolism and stuff, I came across symbols that are used by hobos and homeless people
yeah,
to
those were
indicate
cool. A
this
cat,
house is good to
the cat,
yeah, this is
cat face.
all women, this is all men, this is an easy target.
This
These
person's
people will give you
stingy.
food, yeah.
These people give you food. These will give you food and money. A cat face symbol meant these people were friendly. And then what other features they drew around it, sticks and so on, told you, yeah, all these other cool things. By the mailbox, they would draw it in the dirt by the
Yeah.
mailbox so that other hobos could see it.
I thought that
Sort
was
of
interesting.
reminds me of the review of the review pages on Airbnb.
Ah, okay.
That's the modern interpretation of it. Yeah, you can comment on what your host was like, and your host can comment on what you were like as a guest. Absolutely. Airbnb has a modern interpretation of that. Yeah.
um, let's
What
see. I
else?
want to take that. We debated on. I don't want to use that. I was going to, but I don't want to.
We do go down. We did end up going down some rabbit holes.
Okay, so let me show the one that popped up today
Yeah.
that you showed, and this is a summer camp for kids. And I'll make it full screen, and then I have to go over to that. No, that's not it. I have to find the page again.
Well, it's showing the home web page to that Camp Caverns.
Yeah. Okay.
So you got that up.
Okay. So Camp Caverns. It's called The Caverns, and it's a place in Tennessee. But all these kids kind of look like they've got dark eyes and forced smiles. They don't. I don't know. There's
If
something weird about them. Okay.
you you can zoom in on them on the picture, every single kid has black eyes. Every single kid has black color eyes. There's no green, there's no blue, there's no gray. There's
Does
no
that make it any
hazel,
bigger?
there's no light brown, there's no I'm saying if anybody wants to go and look, it's campcaverns.com
Well, it's
is the
actually
website.
thecaverns.com.
That's the mother website. If you type in
The Cavern.
campcaverns.com, it'll jump to this page.
Oh, okay.
They have a secondary web URL.
Okay, because what I wanted to say was if you go to the caverns, you'll be able to get all the pages that I'm about to
Yes.
talk about.
True.
But and
That's
and
just
it's
weird one.
explored deeply. It's and this is what they say on their page. It's a residential summer camp dedicated to exploration and growth. It goes on and says it's a nurturing place. Camp life is centered around the historic Dubois Center on Monteagle Mountain, which has hosted camps for over 70 years. They have the cabins, a historic dining hall, pavilion, pool, art center, fire pit, grounds for activities, and the caverns. And okay, so I mean, it sounds sort of interesting. I don't know, unless
Mhm.
if your kids are bats, especially. I don't know. But I was, I was looking in here, and I saw
ages 8 to 13. So this is for little young kids only. Yeah.
yes. But I was looking, they've got other things. I got packages and tours and stuff. So, okay, well, let's look at the shows. And it says coming up, one of them coming up on it's the 30th through the 31st.
New
It's
Year's
on New
Eve.
Year's Eve, and it's called The Flaming Lips in the Caverns. There's going to be 2 shows. And if you look at this, it's
That's
got red.
satanic.
Yeah, it's very satanic looking.
It's
I mean,
demonic at least demonic. Yeah, red blood flying out his eyes and
and those blood things look like sperm too, the way they're coming out.
burning sperm. Yeah,
Yeah.
which would be sex with the devil implication, and then flames shooting out the back of his head. And his lips are perfectly normal. There's nothing flaming about his lips.
Right. And yeah, exactly. So
Yeah.
not sure what that means, but then when you look at
Look at the symbol at the top of the page.
go back.
Oh, it's still on the screen for us. Above
Yeah.
the word "flaming lips," there's a modified three-way cross Yeah.
Ah, I didn't even notice that.
If you go digging in symbolism, guys, you'll learn a whole lot more about what that means.
Well, and we can dig it in a minute. But um, the other thing, okay, so let me take that down. And yes, remove that. And let me pull this up for you just a
Deborah
sec.
has a good technical explanation of the all black eyes. The kids may have black eyes because the photo was taken inside of caverns, and a flash could have caused red eyes. Bad Photoshop fix will cause black eyes. She's right. If people are inside the dark caverns, their eyes will dilate, and that means the flash is going to bounce off of the retinas, and you're going to see red eyes uh, like little demons.
Yeah, yeah.
Everybody's going to have two red eyes. And Photoshop can pretty much only turn those eyes black or gray. And
But would I use that?
that
I
could
wouldn't
explain it.
use that for
Technic-
my website picture. If I was,
but
if I
wait, there's
wanted to make,
more.
yeah, if I wanted to show something where kids are having fun, you show them having activities. You don't show a lineup and like you're doing target practice.
Except for there's one kid that has an impish demonic grin, and he's a little bit left of center, and he's a different color. And he has the weirdest little expression.
Yes.
Especially, he looks happy. But compare him to everybody else in the picture, and you see why we think, what the hell is wrong with these kids?
Yeah, yeah. And
They're
this
either
one,
exhausted or they're not very happy, one or the other.
and we're going back to the Flaming Lips website.
Okay.
And what I want to do is I want to because I want you to see their symbol.
Yeah.
The upside down triangle with a skeleton.
Oh, that's cabal.
Yeah.
That's cabal. Yeah.
And this is their lead singer. He's running into a field, and then here comes a woman with a baby, and they're happy. And
paramilitary.
They got the big
there,
windmills up there. But I want you to see what it looks like when this is from a video. You got the police standing there like they're wanting to arrest him, paramilitary.
They're putting on gloves.
Yeah, and you see the cross. And so there's a cross in the background. Now they're back to the sunflower seeds. And suddenly, here comes the butterfly. Like, oh, that's peaceful.
Are symbolic too.
Yeah, and then 1961. Have no idea what but that's the number on the car. Mama's still holding the baby, and they come to mom, and now suddenly the baby is abandoned in the field, crying.
And the mommy
is this now Mother Teresa? I don't know.
I think mommy and daddy turned into stone. First mommy, then daddy. Because the first one was a female. I think
that one looks kind of like Mother Teresa.
Basically, they got doomed. Oh, there's a giant cross.
Yes, and now watch this. Watch this when they go to arrest him. Baby's still crying. And this is coming up. Wait just a sec. Here the police come up.
His buddy ran off.
They find the dead guy in the road.
That have their faces completely covered up. No identification, no gloves, no hat, no helmet. A hat, glasses, mask, no ID.
The baby's still standing in the sunflowers.
Abandoned
Guy's
in the
still running.
In the windmills.
But you got to see, this was the funniest thing. Talk about symbolism. And there's no way for me to fast forward this, or I would. Look, see, he's going up towards the cross.
Gotcha.
Now,
Jesus.
He's got his hands up, and it looks like he's being executed.
Executed on the cross.
And then they go back to another
crucifix.
Yes.
And that's a crucifix, and so is the power line. It's another crucifix behind him.
Yes. Now, when you look at their videos on their page, God and the Policeman, that's the one we were just seeing. Flowers of Neptune 6. These are names of their songs. You and Me Selling Weed. I love this one. Assassins of Youth. and it's got 100 people in bubbles. Yes.
Oh, Brother Eye. 100 people in bubbles?
Look at this. Can you still see it when No, it went to YouTube.
That's a reveal big time.
Yeah, it's
That's
100
going way
people in
beyond the
bubbles,
scope of this
and
show,
the
but
singer's in a bubble too. This one, my religion is you.
that has to do with cloning, honey. Those people in the bubbles. My religion is you. Yeah,
Ah,
that's a reveal.
um,
Wow, these people
this
are into it.
the album covers the flaming lips, American head, and the guy's eyes look like they're bleeding.
Bleeding. Right, right.
Yeah, there we go. And then the
King's
king's
mouth.
mouth,
Oh, that says a lot. And his head is in a vice.
and then
Yikes.
what the hell does that say? I'm moody or
Delirium?
something.
Delirium? Not surprised. I don't
Let me
know.
see. Oh,
Oz
oxy melody,
Melody.
something like that.
Oxy Melody.
That's
Yeah.
yeah. And they are a
So the next one, they're torturing a kid.
the terror.
Keep going. The next one,
Oh,
they're torturing a kid.
embryonic is the
Holy
name of
shit.
that one.
And they are torturing a child in
At
that picture.
war with the mystics.
Yes, we are. Pardon me.
The Yoshimi battles the pink robots
That's an indication. Okay.
of what? Tell us. Go ahead.
Really?
Yeah, we'll go
Uh,
there.
the
Let's
pink
do it.
the pink robots have to do with women, and you're talking about women, female genitalia, and
Ah,
you're talking about some types of cloning have to do with actually biologically, mechanically growing babies inside of slave women.
gotcha.
And it's about a 2 or 3 day, 72-hour discussion to get into the details of that. So
Okay.
I'm overviewing it there for you.
The
But
soft
yeah.
bulletin is a guy standing there, but there's two shadows. Don't quite understand
Mm.
that one.
Your
This
sister
one,
had a comment.
okay. Let
She
me
said, I've been spelunking in those caverns. Trust me, it's hard to get an active photo in caverns.
go. Uh huh.
Absolutely. But you know what, Deborah? I agree with you. So they should have taken pictures of kids outside on the grass by the picnic tables,
Having fun.
having fun around a tree or in the, by the greenery with the rocks and stones in the background. Instead, there's another picture on there that shows further questionable negligence of their photography, not just crappy photography, questionable. When you get a chance, jump over to the director page.
Ah.
Go to
Transmission
the
from the satellite heart. Anyway, so you get
That's one of
here's
the groups that plays at the caverns. Yeah.
yeah.
And there's more skulls.
Oh my
Yeah.
god. Look
And they
at
don't even
this one.
and
He's on a phallic symbol.
yeah, he's riding a phallic symbol and they misspell the word God on purpose.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Go back to, please,
Yes.
the caverns website.
Okay, wait just a minute. I don't know. Can I do it? Wait a minute. I didn't mean to do that.
The cave smoke shop.
I know it.
That's all right. That sounds kind of cool.
I have no idea what it is. Okay, so you can see the cavern's website, right?
So two things. Click on Camp Caverns in the main menu. Two things I want to show you guys. Scroll all the way to the bottom. Down, down, down. Look at the circle in the middle. It says Camp Caverns. Look at their logo. What is that a picture of? Can I get a
Yes. My other bells are too far. Yes, that is an eye.
Mm-hmm. And a inside of a pyramid,
Yes.
which is a classic Eye of Providence, which is the Eye of Horus, the Eye of Ra, Cabal, Cabal, Cabal. So
Yeah.
here's another one. Scroll back up if you don't mind, and I'm looking at
About
I think so. Go ahead.
Power of Music. The doors.
Keep on down, down. The picture of the lady in the giant sunglasses. It's a close up. She's the director. None of these are it. Nope. Go back up. I think I sent you a link in your Facebook Messenger straight to her page. Maybe that's it.
That's concert.
No, that's concert tickets. Go back to Camp Caverns. I think it's a name you click on in Camp Caverns. Now, see, because it's also a music venue more than it is anything else.
St. Paul and the Broken Bones.
A bat, yeah, a bat is a cabal symbol. Touch on a Camp Caverns, if you don't mind, and go down to parents. Click on the word parents. Scroll down.
Oh, there she is.
There she is. Two things. This is the camp director. This is the person in charge of your child's safety, well being, uh, physically, legally, psychologically, emotionally, everything. It all comes down to her.
Look where she's from.
Where is she from? Where does it say she's from?
Italy.
She's from Italy. She's not a U.S. citizen. And she's working here. And that's interesting. But in a legal situation, that could be a problem. Why would that be a concern? You're sending your kid down into a cavern, a cave, under the supervision of other adults without you. It is a dangerous place inherently. It's a wilderness. And getting in and getting out is hard. Adults don't even do it because it is dangerous. Would you, if you went to court or saw this lady on the sidewalk, could you recognize her? Can you see her face? Could you identify her? No. And in the picture, look behind her. She's not standing on a mountain. Her picture is at the beach. That's ocean behind her. That's beach behind her.
Yeah.
This is not a mountain person who's not showing her face.
What is her
to
necklace?
be in charge of your to be in charge of your children in a different country. So it's looks like a ring inside of a ring. Looks like a 2-ring situation.
Yeah.
Which indicates handcuffs. So there's just little things that a day-to-day people wouldn't realize this kind of symbology or the lack of. And it just jumps right out at me looking at this particular website. Who the hell, nowadays, if you know about children in caves and underground, who the hell in their right mind sends kids underground in this day and age, unsupervised, without you? But apparently they still do. And you cannot identify the people who are legally in charge of your kids if in that program if you decide to send them.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, why don't you just slather your children with butter and throw them out in the ocean next to the pier, and go, here, fishy, fishy, to the sharks. I think Nemo said that. Why don't we just slather them in butter and throw them out in front of the sharks? But there's symbolism. The caverns has it. It has a Eye of Horus for one of their symbols. They have bands like flaming lips. A friend of ours commented on that. She said her doctor said he would rather her take alternative drugs while she was pregnant rather than listen to that group live. The damage would be about the same. Apparently her doctor knew about the Flaming Lips group. So, that's somebody else's opinion of their live performance. She enjoyed it, but she's also a radical person. My friend.
Yeah.
So there you go. Anything else about symbolism?
I tell you what we're gonna do because it came up. We're gonna go there. Who the hell cares? I
might as well.
Yeah, it just okay. I'm trying to find.
If you're not comfortable talking about what else we found,
I'm at the.
We found stuff that's not for mainstream viewing,
but
it is because you need to know what's in front of you when they show it to you.
Okay, so what I'm trying to do, and I should have done this earlier, and I didn't. Okay. One symbolism goes into another, right?
Yeah.
And it's and this is how things get connected and how conspiracies start.
Sometimes
and things like that. Okay. So right now we've got in the news Jelaine Maxwell. Okay.
Mhm.
And she was the assistant, the right hand man, or whatever
She was the handler.
handler for, well, I don't know what what her public title was
They're calling
for,
her handler now.
okay,
Yeah. But
for,
anyway, she was at least the assistant, right?
yeah, and for what's his face? What's his name?
Jeffrey Epstein.
Thank you. Okay. And pretty much, I don't think anybody has a problem understanding or believing that Jeffrey Epstein was trafficking young women on an
And children.
island and children on an
To,
island.
to famous people.
Now,
Famous rich people. Yeah.
I did some digging and I found out her father was very connected.
And
Now,
famous. Yep.
yes. And so there were already connections there. And I think he was involved in publishing as well. And um but anyway, so that sort of explained how she got connected with Jeffrey, as far as because he was famous and all that. Her sister is in the courtroom with her during this trial. Um, but
She's been implicated too.
yeah, and so when you start looking at Jelaine's background and her connections through her father and all that, it's kind of like, there are people that were connected to Epstein that were connected to Pizzagate, which we heard about Pizzagate, and it was like, oh, come on, get real. How much can you pull from that? But when you start, and
Do the
again,
research.
doing the research, it really makes you wonder. And
Things start connecting.
you look at Tony Podesta emailed, I know he's creepy, emailed Hillary Clinton. And was in those WikiLeaks. And these are actual emails, and Clinton never denied that she didn't get that email, that anybody made it up. I mean, that, yes. Oh, yes, but that email is just what it says it is. There's nothing hidden in there. What the email says is, what if we get together for an hour and go have pizza?
The chairman of her election is just going to casually throw that out there.
Like, first of all, how many people on that level do you know go to pizza places
for an hour? Right.
Family pizza places.
They don't even go out for coffee.
And
much less family pizza. That's
and then they say, and then he gets into
alone.
Maybe we'll have cheese or pepperoni. He starts talking about the time. It's like, no, you just sit down and fucking order it. You don't email somebody and invite them to lunch for a specific amount of time. It was just worded really, really strangely. Now, people who are supposedly in the know interpret that and say pepperoni is like for little boys.
Hot dog.
Mm-hmm. And hot dog, pepperonis, hot dogs were representative language, meaning boys.
Hot dogs is boys, pizza is girls, extra cheese is a very young girl, sauce is semen, and it goes on and on and on. Each thing represents a specific pedophilia aspect.
The other thing with Pizzagate is they have a triangle, which you think, oh, it's a slice of pizza. But as soon as somebody pointed out that triangle is a symbol, it's like a triangle that's a little spiral.
Inside of it, there's a spiral inside the triangle.
Yeah, that goes in that triangle shape. That is representative of male pedophilia.
They're called boy lovers.
Yeah. And that exact design, it wasn't just a slice of pizza. It had that
It's a
spiral
triangle
inside.
shaped spiral. It's a wire. Yeah, it's not even pizza shaped. It's just a spiral that's three sided.
And so who it's just it's not just this is a coincidence. It's one coincidence after another that pretty soon it's
That triangle spiral shows up everywhere,
right.
especially in
And
specific religions.
so you have that going on, okay? And Tony Podesta refers to that pizza place for that time and uses specific words that have been already associated with the language that is used around pedophilia. Okay. So then that no wonder people are going down that rabbit hole. Okay.
Can I
Yeah.
sidebar? The information that I'm speaking of came directly out of an FBI training manual for how to identify pedophilia, traffic, and communications, and the symbolism and terminology. So
Yes.
I'm not speaking from hearsay. I'm actually quoting FBI documents that have been um, unsealed.
Yes.
What's it called? Unclassified.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So so you've got that segment. Then you've got Tony Podesta and his brother. Was it Robert? I think if you look up Podesta brothers, they went into art together. And I spent one night. I remember one night when this stuff first started coming out, and I'm like, okay, this is bullshit. I'm going to look this stuff up. And I started, and I was like, what the fucking hell am I looking at? And it was like, holy cow. So let me, and I just Googled Tony Podesta art. Okay, whoops, sorry. Let me show it in the
All right.
stream. So not all of this is his. Okay, this is just from my Google search, but some of it is. So let's just talk about
Yeah,
some of
Marina
these.
Abramovich. He was a
Yeah,
fan of hers.
yeah, that's another one. I'm gonna get to her in a minute. Okay, so this is Tony's brother, and this is some of their art. See the long legs on the little girl with the short
Skirt.
skirt? Okay, this is hanging in Tony's brother's house. It is a person.
It looks like it's headless.
Yeah, and I think that's the angle, but here's another angle on it. It's just creepy as hell. Would you want that hanging above? Oh, here we go.
It's a golden cadaver. Do you want a giant life-size golden cadaver hanging over your stairs?
Yeah. And then this, let's see. This is the one that got me. There's one down here. Wait a minute. Let me find what it
And
I
I
don't
believe it is headless. You
Yeah,
can
you're
see it in the
right.
side profile. So you want a headless golden life-size cadaver. That is a famous picture that they
This
have.
is the
Mm-hmm.
Biltmore Estates, North Carolina, and Podesta Arts. And if you can look at the whole article, but all of these children are it was a painting. The Podestas owned it. It is a painting. The background that is made in a swimming pool that is located in
The
the
basement.
Biltmore house. And
It's children kneeling inside of an empty swimming pool.
whoops, I'm sorry.
Turn of the century, early 1900s.
Here
They are not
is
and they are not smiling.
no. Here,
Mm-mm.
all of this is, and here's the them sitting on a ledge, and that swimming pool was identifiable. Look at the
Unique tiles.
shoes.
They all have on red shoes, which is
What does
another
red
rabbit
shoes
hole.
mean?
Go down the rabbit hole. Yep.
Yeah, we'll go down that rabbit hole. Shall I look up red shoes for you?
I did a little bit in terms of in religion, why they're worn by certain uh, religious leaders, and it has to do with the symbolism of walking through the blood of victims and martyrs and people who are sacrificed for whatever cause they died for in the moment. You notice the man with one red shoe is Tom Hanks.
Ha,
Star
yep.
Starred Tom Hanks. Yeah, that's a whole nother. People have done whole series on just Tom Hanks. But red shoes, see, yeah, The picture on the right, you think Wayfair is bad, wait until people wake up to what this picture means. Yeah, people are showing off their red shoes. It's a way of letting others know that you are in on the club. And when we're talking about blood and walking through blood and sacrifice, we're not mentioning what they do with those bodies after they kill them. And I'll just say at one time, cannibalism is involved. So this is a club. This picture is a people in those clubs. The red shoes lets other people know that you're hip to being in that club. You are a part of that club.
I mean, how
But
many people do you know get a group shot standing like that for any
how,
reason?
how often does everybody who's wearing gray and black like that? Everybody's also wearing red shoes with a gray suit. Men, no,
And
something's up.
let me show you this one. Wait a minute. Where am I? I'm gonna back up here. Uh, here we go.
And that is, yep, the religious leader I was talking about. Yep.
Yeah, we'll go there. Who cares?
That his predecessor started this fashion in 2005, and there's articles written about how it's supposed to be that his feet was in the blood of martyrs is the official statement, and the research shows that the Pope and a lot of his underlings are actually involved in the aforementioned practices and clubs, and
well,
that
it
is
started
commonplace.
before. I mean, it was done before 2005, but it's not.
Right,
it's not mandatory.
Right, the shoes became popular for him to wear red loafers starting in 2005. But yes, the red shoe, as you can see in that middle picture, this is Papal Shoes Wikipedia. That's okay. You can see that they're old. The red shoe indicator has been. Don't worry about it. The red shoe indicator of membership has been around for eons and eons as a badge of membership that you're hip to that carnage club.
So when we talk about this stuff, it's not. This is what kind of got me on the boat. Like, you'll hear, oh, that email was just conspiracy theorists, or oh, Pizzagate was just a conspiracy theory.
Read the emails for yourself.
The red shoes is just, when you look at one thing over here and over there, but when you start, and that's what happened to me. I was like, oh, I started looking it up, and I'm going, wait a minute, this person is connected to that person, who's connected to that person, so when you realize from Jeffrey Epstein to the Clintons to the Pope, all these people have connections with each other.
And the Queen of England, and the Queen of Denmark, and Sweden, and Germany, and South America, all those people. You're skipping over the royalty as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're all in the same club.
I mean, look at Prince Andrew.
They have been for decades, nay, generations. All right, Deborah has a comment. My favorite flats are red. So when I get many compliments when I hear them, do I need to wear a button? Not a part of the club. Yes, ma'am, you do.
Now, look, Deborah.
You need to wear a T-shirt that says, I'm a vegetarian who wears red shoes.
Yeah. Well, I don't know any famous. Yeah. If you ever meet more people wearing red shoes and they want to take a picture and say, let's show off our shoes, then they're in a club and you're not, and you back off.
Mm-hmm. Take your shoes off and run.
Yeah.
Because it's not just children that they go after. It's just children are the easiest thing to go after and the most powerful thing to go after, which is a whole nother discussion of how powerful children are.
And what's amazing is, y'all, when you start looking at the symbolism and you start looking at the people, it's like when you get pregnant and all of a sudden you notice that everybody else is pregnant or you didn't see them before. It's that there's a psychological term for that.
you're going to start seeing, yes, you're going to start seeing more red shoes just because we're talking about it. Right.
but they're like there's a lot of television shows that I'll watch, series and things that like Supernatural and Vampire Diaries and some others, and they'll just make quick mentions of this stuff, and if you don't know about it, you're not going to notice it.
But your subconscious will.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
then when I now that I know about it, like there was a conversation about adrenochrome in one of the series, and the person was like, "Oh, I prefer." You know, she was a vampire, and she's like, "I like them when they're calm." And the guy says, "Well, everyone we've given to you before was scared to death." You're right; they do taste better. And she scared the shit out of the man, and then started drinking his blood. And that's one of the things they say with adrenochrome, that when that it's better. They want to
The
terrorize.
victim terrorized. Yeah.
Yeah,
When they die. Yeah.
and so this stuff is circulating, and then you start seeing things like the band that we just showed with the blood coming
Flying
across
across.
and all that, and you start seeing the eyes and the triangle symbols, and and there's more symbols like Margot said earlier. If you go to the FBI and just look up pedophilia symbols, there's
If
a
you
whole
want, you can email us and we will email you links so you can see these symbolism report pages from officials, not just
yeah,
researchers.
and it
But
doesn't mean
there are more pictures. Iris said, "No, we're not showing that." Okay.
well, I mean, you want me to put out?
Later,
Yeah,
someday in the future, when this is more commonplace and less shocking,
it's coming out more and more. I'm seeing
it is. It
more
is.
and
This isn't.
more.
I wouldn't have talked about this a year ago on this show, but it's been a year and a half now, and people are more and more aware that huge travesties have happened that are being unearthed, and the pun is intentional in that sentence.
Yeah, I was like, when you first showed me the picture of that cave, I'm like, are they repurposing DUMBs, DUMBs, which is
Yes,
deep underground military bases?
not yet, not yet. They're still too corrupted. Yeah, DUMBs are deep underground military bases. Yeah, no, they're still corrupted most of the time because there's so much hidden technology buried in there with it, in the walls and so on, that letting civilians walk around in there would be extremely unwise. This
Yeah.
is where you're hearing about a lot of explosions and mysterious earthquakes that are
Mm.
nowhere near fault lines. And that's what you're actually hearing about. They're blowing it. The military is blowing up those domes so that they can't ever be occupied again.
And even on the military website, there is footage of them training the military to
To fight
fight
underground.
underground in tunnels. It's like, ah, that was real big about a year and a half or 2 years ago. That was, and it
Mhm.
was like, who's going to be fighting underground in tunnels?
And at the same time, they have been training therapists by the thousands about how to handle the specific PTSD that comes out of that kind of combat, rescuing victims of those groups.
Mm-hmm.
Which, if you haven't figured out yet, they live in the tunnels. They work in the tunnels. They meet in the tunnels, and they store people and things in the tunnels. And the military is cleaning them out. And from what I understand, they're done or they have been done for the past several weeks. So the good news is we're on the healing leg of this journey. The rescue has happened. The healing uh, is ongoing now for a while. Yeah. So, and they have special forces to heal specifically this bizarre and profound situation. We're
This,
talking about it calmly, but yes, we do understand what we're saying is radical and shocking. But you have to keep in mind that Iris and I have been researching, and our friends too have been. We've been in the company of other researchers looking at this stuff for more than a year Some of our friends have been looking at this stuff for 5 or 10 years. So there's a level to an extent of desensitization from a professional point of view of being a researcher that no, every now and then we do decompress and we do contact each other and talk about how we felt and what this triggered in each of us and maybe some past life experiences or some intuitive experiences because we're both mediums as well and what we've channeled and so on. But these were private conversations that have all happened in the past. We're past that. So we're to the point that we can talk about it calmly and level-headedly and coolly in public a little bit now. And we've discussed my next point privately as well is we look forward to speaking in the future with people who are seeking that this will be new information and they're still in the oh my god what the hell phase. You know, how can this be? How could people do this? What's wrong with humanity that they would do this? Good news, would, past tense, don't do it anymore. And we're going to be available to give people safe space to learn and hear about it as much as they want to.
I remember when, I mean, it was like I had heard of a little bit of this and a little bit of that. And it was going on 2 years ago now when the connections started coming together. Yeah, about
Yeah.
a year and 9 months ago. It was right after COVID started hitting, right
Yeah,
around
COVID
that time.
opened, blew the lid wide open on it.
Yeah, and it was like all of a sudden I saw the bigger picture.
I
And
was there.
yeah, you were there because
I
we
was
were
there.
talking about it, and I was like, "Oh my god, oh my
You
god!"
said, Margo, what the hell? And I said, oh, you want to talk about this? And we talked for like 4 or 5 hours nonstop.
Yeah, on the
Mm-hmm.
and then when I hung up, I was in a stupor for
Mm-hmm.
3 days.
Mm-hmm.
I just, I was doing my normal stuff, but I was not in my body. I just,
You shifted.
oh,
You're
it was tremendous. And it's
you can
like,
never go back. Once
no.
you know, once you see, you cannot unsee. Once you know, you cannot unknow.
And that
Yeah.
was a tremendous, And then when we came up with this podcast, it was like, we aren't going to launch it. There's plenty of people talking about this crap already. We don't need to fuel the fire and be sensationalist. So what our effort is to bring in
Education.
education and to help people work with themselves, because if you don't work on
Yeah.
yourselves, you can't understand the rest of it, and to be positive. And so
It'll
but
trigger
then
you if you're not at a certain level of okay with you. It will trigger you, and your learning will stop, and you'll just be in a panic state. No, that's not what we want for you. We can help educate you past that, sort of
yes.
ease you in a little bit. Yeah.
So yeah, we'll drive the boat for you and take you on a little bit of a tour, but not, yeah,
Not tell
but
you what to say.
yeah. And again, you
Ask
know,
questions, y'all.
ask questions, do the research for
Do the research
yourselves.
for yourself. If
Um,
somebody makes a statement, ask them for sources and go look it up.
yeah, and
Yeah.
if you have questions, you can post them. Because the system whether you're on YouTube or Facebook, the system alerts us that somebody's posted a comment. You can ask questions there. You can email me or contact me or Margot on Facebook or on Eyes of Indigo. You can message Eyes of Indigo. I'm at iriscarter.com. And if your question's from Margot, I'll forward it to her. Or if you give your
Mar-
website,
Margot at indigoanswers.com.
yeah. So either one of those, we'll try to give you answers, or talk it through with you or whatever, if you do any rabbit holes yourself and kind of go, where the hell am I?
Dude, I need a shovel. And I've done
Yeah.
that before. I've gone down really dark holes. I started watching Fall of the Cabal, which is a hardcore reveal series of videos that are 30 to 60 minutes each. The series is now up to 19. And a lot, it'll, you've heard of red pill. It will red pill the snot out of you, and it will, she doesn't pull any punches. She throws it, and she throws up names, dates, references. She names who's attached to who, blah, 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 blah. And so it's small doses. You watch 2 or 3 videos, you step back and process, go back a few hours later, a few days later, and you have to take it in small doses because there's no fluff. Every single second is jam packed with bam, 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 shocking information that would even shock you and I. I went back and watched a few things and I was like, oh my God, I forgot about that. And it's a lot. It's called Follow the Cabal. If you like hard hitting stuff, it's on rumble.com. Her name is Janet Asabard, which is a Norwegian, Swedish kind of Nordic name, but just Janet Follow the Cabal on rumble.com and you'll see it. And I was looking at the latest releases. I had watched like 1 through 10 and 11 through 19 had come out in the last year. So I hadn't seen 10 video 10 since 2020. Hadn't had time in 21 to do it. So I started watching 11 through 19 and I was at about 17 and I was like, Jesus Christ. I was getting really, really overwhelmed. And one of our close friends called in the middle of it and her name popped up on my cell phone and I clicked up and I said, thank God you're pulling me out of a hell of a rabbit hole here. I had to come back to this reality. She's like, yep, I've seen that video. Glad to help. And because what we're talking about very, very superficially here actually hits every single aspect of human existence, internal, external, supernatural, everywhere. And it's not just touching on it, it pervades everything. So, your view of reality and what is truth gets thrown off. You have to shift what you are to brain wrap where all this is going. And it's okay to do it bit by bit by bit. We call that drip drip. It's okay to do baby steps and drip drip because it's a lot.
Yeah.
And even those of us that have been around for several thousand millennia and can plug into all kinds of intuitive resources to help us cope and calm down and understand and plug into each other as well, we still get overwhelmed by it sometimes. And so don't feel bad. Don't feel bad. If you watch 1 or 2 episodes of Follow Cabal and go, okay, this is more than I can stomach. Go back another day when you feel better. Talk about it.
This is an interesting twist that I was just thinking when you were talking about this. And when you look at the largeness of it, on one hand, it can be overwhelming.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, for what it does for me personally,
yeah,
the little shit don't matter anymore.
That's excellent clarity. Good for you. It does. When you see the grand scope of everything, your day-to-day troubles become manageable.
It's like we were talking before the show started. I've got an issue going on that I'm not going to mention because I don't want it to get, but it's just, it's a friend and it's like, it's just been eating at me. And we're sitting here talking about this stuff and I'm all of a sudden going, why the fuck am I getting upset about that? It doesn't matter. Anne Bancroft does a wonderful, there's a wonderful quote by Anne Bancroft in the movie, shit.
That's not the name of the movie.
Point Blank or Point something, and it's got Jennifer.
Point Break?
No, it's Jennifer. Not Jennifer. Bridget Fonda's in it, and
I'll look it up while you talk.
Bridget Fonda and Anne Bancroft, and she goes, "Repeat after me. The little things just don't matter anymore. The little things never bothered me," or something like that. It's like, yeah, the little things just never.
Agnes of God.
Me. No, God, were they in that again?
Agnes of God.
No.
Anne Bancroft, Meg Tilly, and Jane Fonda. Okay.
No, this
Wrong Fonda.
wrong Fonda.
Wrong Fonda.
Bridget.
Point of No Return.
That's it. Point of No Return.
Yeah,
That's a
Bridget
really
Fonda.
good movie too.
1993, Point of No Return. Yeah.
I love that movie. Bridget Fonda's a troubled youth that gets actually she gets abducted. She was going to be sentenced to death, and they
And she
take
gets,
her and they're going to put her in Secret Service, and she has to be trained and all that stuff.
that's a reveal. I've heard
Underground.
it is in a lot of it. Well, underground and outer space. So, yeah, that's very typical that they will take people that are at end of life. Airplane crashes, airplanes that are going down, they'll take them then. People that are being executed, they'll take them then. People in natural disasters like hurricanes and tsunamis, they will take them in.
And the
And when
government can't control weather because they admitted it when Vietnam was going
during
on.
Vietnam, which means they had been doing it for decades already. So, and when I say they will take them, I'm talking about good guys and bad guys. Both sides have the exact
And remember,
same
good and bad are human.
are
Ego.
labels. So yeah, that's your perspective on who's the good guy and who's the bad guy. Not necessarily. Yeah, it's so I just call it they because it's interpretation. It's situational, but the technology is available is equal on both sides. So yes, they can take your consciousness, your awareness, your soul, whatever you want to call it, and your body if they want to in a catastrophic situation. And you do have an effect on that, by the way. I'm not talking about a hopeless situation. You can affect it. It just depends on what happens and what condition you're in and circumstances. And again, it's situational.
Yeehaw!
So don't worry about it. If that's the chances are 1 in a million of that ever happening to you. If it does, you'll be like, I've heard of this before. Cool. Let's see what happens next.
The little things just don't bother me.
It's not going to bother you because your other opportunity is dead. You might as well check it out. Yeah.
Well, I've drug it on, and yeah, you can see why this can of worms is hard for us to open because then you can't get all the little boogers back in the box.
Stop you crawling out of that. Get back in the lid. Absolutely. Put your night crawler butt back in there.
Thank you for joining us, everyone.
Thank
We
you,
appreciate you
everyone.
being here, and we'll be back next week with God only knows what.
We'll be back with more Eyes of Indigo.
Yes. Enjoy
Happy
your
holidays,
week,
guys. Happy Hanukkah. Bye.
Thank you for joining the Eyes of Indigo with Iris Carter and Margot Ross Sears. Music is Arcadia by Kevin MacLeod of Incomptech.com, licensed under Creative Commons. Visit our Facebook page for broadcast details, www.facebook.com/Eyes of Indigo. Show is copyrighted 2021 by Iris Carter and Margot Ross Sears. All rights